Wait a minute. Hold on. Let's make sure we got it right. Hey, there we go. What's going on, everybody? Hello, welcome to another episode of The Watch About With Me, else. Show Watch, make some noise. Clap it up. Get excited wherever you are. We are back. Yes, sir. We're here off a weekend of phenomenal disappointments and success, capped off with one of the greatest fights we've had this year, with Inoue getting another KO. The monster strikes again. Oh, we gotta talk about Inoue. We gotta talk about Ryan Garcia. Recapping all of the weekend. We can also got some NBA that we can discuss if we have some time at the end of the show. And also don't forget, at the end of the show, we got the championship rounds where you can talk about anything and everything that you feel you need to say. And we will be here for you to discuss it all, no question about it. And remember, leave a like on the video if you're here. Comment your thoughts and opinions on whatever you want to discuss today. Subscribe to the channel and share the show with everybody that you know so we can keep on building up this empire together. Absolutely. And again, I'm gonna give you some precaution. My voice is shot a little bit, so excuse me if I'm not able to be as fluid with what I say. Not because I ain't good at what I do, because oh yeah I am, but I'm trying to I'm a little bit struggling a little bit trying to get my voice out there, and so excuse me if we have a little bit of trouble, but we'll manage it. We'll pace ourselves. We'll still do what we normally do, and hey, we'll make the show the best that we can be, because as we always do, we make sure that we have this be the hottest show in all the globe, wherever you are, don't matter where. Absolutely, we are here to help make your weekend or your week, the best they can be, no question about it. So again, thank you for tuning in. Also, J. Will, Sergey, who else? Al Booga. Thank all of y'all for tuning in to the show. Again, if you're just tuning preference to my voice, if it sounds bad, it's because I told you I pushed myself to the brink. I went beyond my limit over last weekend. So we might have a little bit of an issue when it comes to the vocal range that I normally have, but we're still gonna make it do what it do. But again, we got so much stuff to talk about. We got a lot to discuss. Absolutely. If you get a chance, brother, go back and watch all the fights that we have, because it is I think last night's what did it for me. I think it was Inoue's fight that blew the top off my voice, because I was so excited. If y'all were here for the live stream, brother, it was insane. Oh my gosh, it was ridiculous. Jay Riggs, what's good with you? How you doing? Appreciate you tuning in onto the show. Oh shoot, I got my tea ready, and it was it was something. I'm telling you, I think it was an Inoue fight, not just the fight that saved the weekend, but it was a fight that was indeed the quintessential a showcase of everything that the monster is. But we can talk about that as we get into the show. So let's not waste any time, shall we? Let's get into what we got to do and what we have to work with us. So it's time to step into the ring, since we're talking about boxing first and foremost. Hey, buddy. That's right. Let's get it started. Round one of this show going underway. Hello, everybody. Justy Cage, how you doing? Good to see you. I think Jay Riggs already said what's up to you. What's up to you? And first and foremost, we're going to recap the rest of the weekend. We're going to recap all that we saw last week in more detail with Rolly, Ryan, Devin, T.O., all that. And Canelo also. We're going to cover that. But let's talk about what we saw last night in one of the most spectacular showcases that we've witnessed for a superstar in the world of boxing. I don't want to hear anything else about Inoue, because the monster came to the States and wreaked havoc on a scale that many people thought was impossible. We witnessed the birth of a megastar, not from the standpoint of he was already a superstar. He was. But in the realm of America, or other detractors continuously said they needed him to fight here in the States, fight here in America, as the only means to get a valid credence to what his actual talent is. Mind you, I've been fighting people all day long, all week long, all years, Talk about him versus Tank, him versus likes of Canelo, all this stuff. From he's a bum, he ain't there, he ain't ready, he ain't really all that, and a bag of chips. This man is genuinely just a fighter who just does, or essentially fights bums. There's nobody in the division. He can't really contend with the best of the best. His talent is nothing but cherry-picked opposition. All of this type of rhetoric was all going about right now as we were witnessing day by day the greatness of the monster. Then we get to Ramon Cardenas, a lift driver, somebody who wasn't paid for the first 10 fights of his career. Was somebody that people overlooked, myself included. But when you dig a little deeper, this man's fought up to actually, well, actually, hold on. Let me save that, because that's a plot point that helps cap off exactly how spectacular this performance was. But more specifically, just what this performance was a complete showcase of everything that we know Inoue has to offer. He showed every single trick in the book. He showed his adaptability, his power, his speed, his fight IQ, his never say die mentality. There were so many things about this fight. And again, as we break down the fight of what actually happened, Ramon Cardenas is a brother who, mind you, is what, like we told in the predictions, was a brother who would stand in front of you. He is somebody who is slick in the pocket and then would look to counter with big shots, hooks to the body as well, has some underrated speed and some good combinations. But I even underestimated how fast that speed really was. And I really didn't understand what we were walking into with Ramon Cardenas. And now, brother, it's all on display. This man got some pop. This man has some insane hook speed, absolutely. And he got a great chin from the standpoint of being able to take a whole bunch of punishment. And he has, his style was something that was able to make Inoue really have to worry. The last time we saw Inoue get knocked down was against Louis Neary earlier in the year. And Louis Neary was a brother who got banned from Japan because he had done something that got him banned from Japan and banned from the being able to fight over there. They lifted the ban just for Inoue to go in there and get revenge for, I think he had done something to some boxer. I can't remember who. But regardless of which, but that brother had some pop. That brother's one of the biggest punchers in the whole division, in terms of Louis Neary. And we saw what Inoue was able to do after getting caught. And the same thing happened this time. But this time it was a little bit more, it looked even more damaging, because this shot that Cardenas landed was even more flush. This shot that Cardenas landed was more flush than what we saw Ryan Garcia get landed on when Rolly caught him and knocked him down. This was just about as flush as we saw Ryan Garcia get caught when he got knocked out. Or excuse me, knocked down, not knocked out, but knocked down against Campbell all those years ago back at 135. This was a clean hook off of a counter with Inoue's, I think, power hand dropping that, I mean, would have put most people out. It would have. And Inoue still was able to come back. And what made it so spectacular, it wasn't just that he came back. He came back and kept on fighting in the danger. Something that we did not see Ryan Garcia do. When Ryan Garcia got caught against Rolly Merrill and got hurt, he went and got gunshot. And again, we're going to talk about the Ryan Garcia fight. But we did not see Inoue step back after that knockdown. We didn't see Inoue take a step and look to be safe when he got caught and when he got hurt. We did not see Inoue go and make himself into a fighter who was only worried about being safe rather than being the monster that we still know him to be. It was phenomenal. It was stupendous. And again, excuse me for those who are commenting in the chat. I see it. I'm about to read it. I'm updating the chat, the software as we're doing the show, so we can get you all popping up on this thing. I forgot to update it last night because I was taking care of my voice. So excuse me, but we're gonna still read off what you guys say. Noya Inoue saved the weekend. Yes, he did save the weekend. Objectively, he did. He saved the whole weekend of the cup. Now, it still was a bad weekend on the whole because of the fights that were incredibly lackluster. But again, we'll touch on that. But he at least made it worth our while that we ended it in a bang. Let's see, Jay Riggs. I was shocked by Cardenas, and he was my vote to. I was shocked by Cardenas. And he has my vote to go. I gotta watch him again. Yeah. Oh, he made a fan out of everybody. I think Cardenas said the weekend he didn't run from the monster. He was there to fight and try to win. And this is what. See, if William Skull did this, against Canelo, we would be saying all this stuff about him. We could be, hey, if you give him a good show and make a great fighter have to work, brother, you gain all the respect. Because you not only add to what he's doing in terms of what the great boxer is doing, but you help show that there is some deep talent in the division. And you are one of the big contenders that, hey, we can't overlook when it's all said and done because of how much you're able to make the best of the best have to work. And you have the potential to be able to go in if it went another way. But we could be seeing Cardenas having the biggest upset that we've had, not just of this weekend, but of the past. What, 5 years? 6 years, just about? Maybe even bigger from the standpoint, or maybe even from a larger range, from the standpoint of unexpected victories. But he absolutely earned my respect. Oh, no question about it. Oh, he got my respect to Kingdom Come. I'm sorry I didn't give him the credit that he deserves. Absolutely. Rusty Cage, Cardenas deserved his flowers, put on a great performance, yet Haney and Skull made millions running around. It's disgusting. Oh, it's what Haney and what Haney and Skull did, they fought safe. And again, we're going to touch on this later on in the show. Haney and Skull fought safe. And by safe, I mean Haney and Skull, they fought in order to get by, not be embarrassed. And essentially, they did the same thing, but for two different reasons. Skull fought to get his money and get out. Haney fought to keep his money for down the line. Skull was fighting with the biggest payday of his life, and he could have made even more out of it, but he chose just to not get embarrassed, go and run, and not try to do anything. Haney did the same thing, tried not to do anything, did the bare minimum, absolutely, but he did it in order to keep his bag down the line because he was trying to make sure he was set for the Ryan Garcia fight, which again, you still shouldn't have been so passive that you just risked you just tried to save face. This we talked about this. I think was it Jay Riggs? Was it you that brought this up? We were discussing Devin Haney and how I was scared that Devin Haney wouldn't engage because he was scared of getting caught. And I think it was you or somebody else that said, "Well, you shouldn't risk the bag if you're Devin Haney. Go on, get the win, do what you got to do to make sure you can get to Ryan Garcia." And I was like, "I see your point, but this is also why I didn't want that to happen because then we get fights like this. This is why I was saying." This is part of the reason why I was saying I didn't want to see Devin Haney be so passive just to make sure he made it on to his side of the bargain. Because then we get fights like this that even if both fighters had won in Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia, that fight by proxy of how those fights went previously would have been even, it would have lost its luster regardless. Because Devin Haney genuinely didn't try anything. Now we got people saying Devin Haney is scared to get hit. Now his stock, even in a win, is down. It's back to what it hasn't recovered nearly as much as it should have from the whole drama of PEDs and the fight with Ryan Garcia. Because he aimed just to do the bare minimum to make sure he made it to the next round. And now you see why I say I don't want fighters fighting that way. Not just because I want you to showcase what you can do at the best ability that you can, but also because it will lead to this type of fighting where people don't want to engage. And people don't want to fight. People don't want to, again, I'm not talking about being slick and responsible and defensively, sound, all that stuff. I'm not talking about being technical. I'm talking about genuinely doing the bare minimum. Just like we talked about with Shakur and how we didn't like that. That's a problem. That's a major problem. And so we get fights like this when you just want to make sure you play it safe. And so it's a shame. I really don't like it. Let's see. Yo, Aloe J, what's good with you? Thanks for tuning in. Again, I'm going to bring up your chat. I'm just trying to get this thing working right now. So excuse me, but I'm reading stuff off. And I'm still going to bring it up. Let me see. I remember you talked about certain fighters have a second win or different gears when they get hurt or being challenged. Inoue is one of the active fighters that seem to have that second gear. Yeah, see, it was the sixth gear in terms of Aloe J's. I was talking about fighters have a sixth gear in the world of boxing that Not just when they get hurt, but when they go and fully get into that mode of it's time for me to take over. Now, that's when they go and reach that next zenith. Terrence Crawford has it. People like Canelo Alvarez have it. Didn't really show it against the Skull fight at all, but he does have it. Benavidez to some degree has it. We've seen it. Not as aggressively, but he's got it. And we have, it's a short list, but it is a great list. Because if you have a sixth gear, that means that when you're in high gear, you're already dominant. But when you get to that sixth gear, now you reach a stratosphere that somebody else can't reach. There's an extra umph that you can go to. There's an extra level that you can access that people can't get to. So once they tap out or top out, now whatever they try to do, they're fighting at their highest. And they're trying to essentially create a new level that they don't have, while you can get to a level that you have unlocked due to your talent and because you've been able to build it. Then you become something of a monster. Now you become a real separate level from everybody else. You turn into the indomitable force because you no longer are bound by the restrictions of just being in fifth gear. You can go to another level that other people don't know how to get to. And your fifth level is already just as good, or your fifth level is already as good as everybody else in the world. But at sixth level, now you're reaching a new dimension. It's like a Super Saiyan. For my anime fans out there, you got Super Saiyan. Yeah, and for others who can get up to that Super Saiyan level, you got Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3, which is hard to get to. And then once you get up even more, now you got Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue, then you got Ultra Instinct or Ultra Ego, if you're a Vegeta fan. Those two types of levels, Ultra Instinct, Ultra Ego, Destroyer Mode, whatever for other characters, those levels are only accessible to the few people in the world in that Dragon Ball universe. And it's a separation because once you push me up to that limit, that's also your limit too. But because I can break it, now you see the real power that I have. That if I get pushed there, I'll turn into something that you don't believe should be real. Hence why we call this But of the Myth. Again, that's the title. The title of this entire show, or at least for the thumbnail, is From Monster to Myth. This was the perfect example of what I've been trying to say when it comes to Inoue. He is a myth because of his ability to go and do the unfathomable, the impossible. We've known this man to be a multifaceted killer. From the biggest example being Noya. But now with this fight, brother, this was this was everything and then some. And it was even better, or arguably, it was just as impressive as the Noya fight, though the opponent wasn't nearly as good. And though he was younger against Noya, who was a Hall of Famer already. Absolutely. But it was the fact that the same thing that happened against Donaire, when he broke his orbital bone, when he got hurt, when it seemed like Donaire had his number, it was going to beat him. It was going to get him. When he elevated, he beat him. Absolutely, he adapted. But he couldn't finish the job in terms of get the KO, but he got the win. I'm not saying the KOs are everything. But in this situation, in a similar circumstance where he got hurt, and even throughout the rounds, unlike with Louis Neary, it wasn't as quick of a turn the fight around, now there's nothing you can do. It was a slower process to get complete control that Inoue had to do against Cardenas. It was. It wasn't just simply, boom, you got him, the next round, knocked him down, and now he's just cleaned out. Nah, Cardenas made him have to work. One of the hardest fights he's ever had to work for in his career. And this time he ended it in a knockout. This time he did everything and got this brother out of there. After taking full control, after being pushed to the brink, after being put in a similar situation like with Donaire, like with Neary, but more specifically with Donaire, when an opponent was able to again, seemingly able to rise with you, you were able to adapt, overcome, and then take him out and end the show. That was what was impressive to me. And it's how we did it. It's how we did it. And Al Buga Ali comes to mind to some degree, yeah. And again, that may sound like sacrilegious. I'm not trying to say that Inoue's Ali. I'm not trying to say that Inoue's Ali in the sights. And again, J. Rich, you're right. Usyk has that gear as well. He does. No question about it. Absolutely. I'm sorry that I missed him in the naming of those people with that elevated sixth gear. But he's got it too. And so, who's that guy that broke his jaw and still fought and won? I don't remember. Yeah, that was no need to. I think that was Donaire that broke his jaw. No. Are you talking about If you're talking about Inoue, Donaire broke his orbital bone. If you're talking about Ali, then it was Ken Norton that broke his jaw. If you're talking about Usyk, I don't know who broke Usyk's jaw. And so, but I don't think he's had that jaw broken. I don't think so. But regardless of which, the way that he did it was so impressive because he went after getting knocked down and still went forward, but then he went and used his jab and changed his tempo. Instead of just trying to go flailing in, okay, I'm going to get it back. He built on getting his get back by foundationally changing what he was as a fighter. Not in a bad way, but in a good way. He went into the jab. He went in and was timing, not just timing and breaking through Cardenas' jab, but now he was changing the rhythm that he was fighting. Changing the timing that his offense was coming. And that's when you saw him start to slip and lean from Cardenas' hooks. Now it was almost like he knew it was coming. Jab, wait, one more jab, get him and back him up to the ropes. And then he knew that the counter hook was coming, but he did it in a way that it was almost like Cardenas thought that he had him. He made Cardenas think that he had him on the timing of the same hook that landed the first time. And then another whiff. And it was not just the damage that incurred that helped to break down the fatigue and overall physical ability that we saw Cardenas inevitably falter to by the time the fight ended. But it was the genuine stamina draining from Inoue making him miss consistently while being right in front of him. Making him miss, jumping, like not even jumping, slipping back out and then coming back in with the right hand. And then coming in with the uppercut and forcing him to the ropes. Doing his combination, then going back to the jab and then making him miss again and then going with another hook. And then doing that song and dance over and over. Making it so that now Cardenas is getting tired mentally because now he thinks he's got him. He knows that this is the thing, this is the punch to do it, but he can't land it. He's changing his own time instead of Cardenas. And yet still, in a way, seemingly 3 steps ahead of him from the standpoint of he knows when you're going to throw. And then at that point in time, when the punches were landing that were hooks later on in the fight, all of a sudden, Inoue was now taking him. All of a sudden, there were a couple rounds where Inoue was getting hit with 2 or 3 hooks or hard punches back to back to back. And after that knockdown, he seemingly gained better chin. He gained better durability. Again, that 6th gear, elevating everything else about him. And it's like it was a sublime performance. I'm telling you. It was so good in every aspect. You have to understand that when we look at Inoue, we are not just looking at an average boxer. And we are not just looking at another modern day great. We're looking at an all-time great. We're looking at one of the best pure fighters that we've ever seen in the sport. One of the best pure fighters we have ever seen in this sport, regardless of era and weight class. And I don't say that lightly. We say that because that's the truth. That's what we're witnessing history unfold right before our eyes. And it's just incredible. It is really just incredible. Let me see you all's comments. And Cobra Kai, what's good with you? And again, I'm sorry, I'm doing multiple things at once. Appreciate you, Cobra Kai, jumping in onto the show. Thanks for tuning in. You're a genius, knows a lot about boxing than most people. Hey, look, I just try. I'm humble. I only know what I know, and I appreciate you all valuing my opinion to want to stay around. Absolutely, but the well words and kind words, greatly appreciated. I do very much. I enjoy doing this. Absolutely. And again, I'm not better than anybody else. I'm not worse than anybody else. There's plenty of people that know more than me. Absolutely. I just know what I know. and do my best to keep informed so I can make sure I give you all, the viewing and listening public, the show that you deserve. Absolutely. And if I'm wrong, I ain't got no problem being wrong. No question about it. And let's see. Yeah, check out Cardenas fight versus Costa. That was a good fight, absolutely. And it's like we keep, when we look at Inoue, I want you to listen. And I think we talked about this earlier on the live stream. Over the weekend. But I am sick and tired of people now still having a goalpost to move for Inoue. Because I don't know what else he can show you. I don't know what else he can do to show you what he is as a fighter. I don't know what else he can show you to prove exactly how great he is. People still now are trying to move the goalposts. Now he's got to fight at 126. Now he's got to go and fight Nick Ball in Espinosa. He's got to go undisputed before they find him as a legitimate, great fighter. Is it trolling? Most likely, yeah. Somewhat, I'm almost assured. But it's wrong because it sets a precedent for people that, again, may not know as much about the sport. They may only see this win as, oh, Inoue got knocked down by an Uber driver. How is that something that y'all are celebrating? How is that spectacular? Why is that something that you all should discuss as genuine quality work for a boxer? When he got beat, when he got scared, from the standpoint of he got put down by a brother who we'd never heard of before. And I think we fail to understand history has had greats get knocked down. And it's not like it is something that is so unknown for people, especially who fight like Inoue, to get dropped. Right? Sugar Ray Robinson has been dropped before. Sugar Ray Robinson. Sugar Ray Leonard, when he moved up to 160, he got dropped. And it was supposed to be his fight before Marvin Hagler. He got dropped. Twice, I think. At 160. Against a person that most people said, yeah, Sugar Ray Leonard should be able to beat with the greatest of beasts. Diego Corrales has been knocked down before. He got knocked down by Floyd Mayweather. I think knocked down. Was it knocked down or knocked out? Yeah, it was one of the two. He hit the canvas on multiple occasions. Amir Khan had a glass chin, yet still is a great fighter. Zab Judah's been knocked down. Zab Judah's been knocked down. Roy, perfect example. Jay Will, you beat me to it. Roy Jones Jr. has been got knocked out multiple times. Now, granted, that was more so, in my opinion, because of the weight cut from heavyweight going back down to 175. But regardless of which, it happened. When he felt like he shouldn't have been, in my opinion, he's objectively better than Tarver. If they had fought on Roy Jones Jr.'s path up to 175 instead of from Roy coming back down to 175, Roy would have beat Tarver twice. Objectively. Because I know the Roy that fought Tarver at 175 at that particular instance wasn't the same Roy that was coming up to 175 when he had won at 154, when he had won at 160, when he had won at 168, and was making his way up to heavyweight. That was a different Roy. Completely different Roy. Physically, he was different. The chin was objectively different because of the cut of muscle and mass. But again, that's a whole other conversation. Tyson, Cobra Kai, you're right. Tyson got knocked out by Buster Douglas. And it was like, but it's still a great fighter. We are now, knockdowns don't detract from what you are. A knockdown is a testament to your ability to get back up and continue to be the man that we know you can be, or woman. It is not a bad thing to get caught because this is boxing. It's boxing. And remember Marquez was dropped 4 times in round 1 and arguably came back and beat Pacquiao? Yep. And it's like Pacquiao getting knocked out but Pacquiao got knocked out early in his career before coming into the States over in the Philippines, before even getting knocked out by Juan Manuel Marquez. And it was like, we didn't look down on either fighter. We didn't. It makes no sense that all of a sudden being vulnerable is a problem. Because every boxer is vulnerable. There's a difference in critiquing your style as to what makes you open to attack. Absolutely. But getting knocked down is not the problem in boxing. Adapting, that's the problem. making sure that you do the right things to make sure it doesn't happen again, while still being you to your core, not getting stripped away the essence of what you are as a fighter due to that knockdown. Your ability to overcome what would normally be a dire circumstance and come out on top. That is what the concern is. But knockdowns in themselves are not bad in the slightest, and they should never be seen as something to detract you, to hurt you, as a legacy defining moment. It shouldn't be, because it happens to everybody. And it's like, it irks me that is a genuine sentiment that many people in the boxing public have, for no good reason, rather than either A, just to troll, or B, to hype up their own fighter. For no good reason, rather than just to be able to say, ha, that never happened to me. That would never happen to Tank. That would never happen to Canelo, or whoever the case it may be. It's idiotic. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Let me see. I never looked at getting dropped as a big deal per se, as long as you get back up. Yeah, see, exactly. Ruiz had 6 gear for his one time only fight against Anthony Joshua. After that, he was never the same. So, like, some people, you can get up to that level once. It's the great thing about a 6 gear, when we reference it with the fighters I named, it's because they can access that every single fight. See, it's different when you're able to, it's different when you can when you can climb the mountain of your own internal talent versus when you can stay up there. That's the difference that separates a lot of boxers. There is a difference in being able to reach the best of everything that you are one time versus being able to consistently get there whenever you need it. That's what the greats were always able to do. That's what separates, pound for pound in a lot of situations, from contenders. That's what separates champions from challengers in a lot of different avenues, because they can get to that level more than one time. And it's already tough to get there. But if you can consistently access and break that glass of that 6 gear, you turn into a real dominant force, because you always have the ability to access that next part of you, that unsheathed part of you, that emergency level of not just locking in, but completely elevating everything about you. Whenever you break the glass of the 6th gear, you unravel a new portion of your ability. That's that thing. It's every boxer is a sculptor. Every boxer is a sculpture and a sculptor. Yes, their trainers are training them, absolutely. They're sculpting their thing. But a boxer is one of the few instances where one person fills 2 roles. Both, they are the sculptor, they're the mold. They are the design, and they are the designer. And by that I mean, when you get in the fight, after all the training, once you get pushed to a certain point, now you fight like you've been molded to be. But at the same time, in the middle of the fight, you can also mold yourself into something different. You're both the potter and the clay in the situation of this game of boxing, in that midst of that fight. And if you can master your ability to mold yourself anew by, again, breaking that glass consistently, you then turn into an even more magnificent vessel, because now you've added on a new layer. You found out in the middle of the fire what to do to change the makeup of you entirely. And it's so difficult to understand how to do that. But it is so, once you do it, it's a feeling like no other. But it's hard to do it again. It really is, because you got to think, how did I get back to that? What did I do internally to help add this new element to this body of clay that I am, while in the midst of the furnace of a fight? It's a difficult thing, but if you can do it, I'm telling you, that's why people become tapestries. We keep calling it. It's a tapestry. It's a tapestry. It's an orchestra. It is a painting. It's beautiful because you are it's ever changing. It's consistently evolving. And if you can consistently evolve, you're incredible. Oh gosh, you're phenomenal. I'm telling you, it's so good. It's so good. But let me see. Actually, hold on. While I'm getting mind you, I'm still fixing the chat. So so excuse me. I'm not trying to be frazzled. I am still trying to fix this chat so we can make sure everybody gets all of their stuff showed up on the screen. I don't know why it was working yesterday, and for some reason it ain't working today. So I'm like, oh Lord. But regardless, we're still gonna read and we're still gonna comment. We're still gonna have our fun like we normally do. And also, like, if you're here, leave a like on the stream. Love to hear what you all gotta say. Absolutely. And so it's incredible, and I'm so happy that you all are here with us today. Let me see what you all are saying in the chat right now. Yo Trey, what's good with you? How you doing? Knockdown will only make you or break you. Yep, absolutely. Haney got knocked down and kept getting back up. He did. That's why we don't hold the knockdowns against Devin Haney, because he keeps on getting up. Our thing is the way that he fights. That's a whole nother conversation, which we're getting ready to get into. Fans can't want excitement and then bash a guy. Thank you. That's exactly what I've been trying to say. You can't say that this weekend was boring and then go out of your way and say somebody that tried to make a fight. Now, when you got caught because you're putting yourself in danger, now you get disrespected for it. That's preposterous. That's ridiculous. Not everybody has the skills of James Toney or Floyd to sit in the pocket without getting dropped. Absolutely. And it's not a bad thing. If you get caught inside, it's, again, every single fighting style has its own pros and cons. And it's all beautiful when you make a fight out of it. And so it's you should expect everybody just to be, swim. Everybody, you can't swim without getting wet all the time. You know why? Because you're jumping in water. You can't. It's impossible to swim without getting wet all the time because you're jumping in the ocean. It's not possible. It's not possible to never get wet. Getting wet shows how great you can swim in a different aspect. It's a part of the whole. It's a part of swimming in the first place. You're gonna get wet at some point in time. Some people, they love getting wet. They love putting themselves in the deep end of the sea. Let's see what we can do. But you saying if you can't swim without getting wet, not you, Jay Will, but others saying that if you get caught, oh, you're a bum. No, that's just stupid. Floyd got caught and held on for dear life against the likes of Sugar Shane Mosley. He got beat, in my opinion, by Castillo the first time. And he's been rocked other times before. He got caught, and we know everybody is able to swim without getting wet all the time. James Toney got knocked down, had brawls at heavyweight, got knocked down by Roy Jones Jr. It's not bad to get caught. My gosh, it really isn't. It's just I'm going to reserve judgment on Devin Haney until his next fight. See if he gets back to fighting spirit after getting this fight out the way. That's actually, hold on, we might actually be able to go into that topic right now. Let me see. Yep, we can actually jump real quick. We can come back to Inoue because we still got so much we can say. But we can jump to the next topic right now when it comes to the world of boxing as we jump into Devin Haney versus beating Ramirez. And a lot of people have a lot of problems when it comes to this fight because now, brother, oh shoot, the best thing I can say is we are not having fun. We are not enjoying what this new Devin Haney is supposed to be. Now, I will say this. Is this indicative of what he is as a boxer as a whole? At this point in time, I don't know. Because you brought up a good point. You're going to reserve judgment. You're going to wait until we see the aftermath of this. And this is not me trying to just blow smoke, but genuinely, I don't know if this isn't the Devin Haney that we now will always have. I don't think I'm skeptical that this is going to be a Devin Haney that will change, or to say it in a less confusing manner. I think this is the Devin Haney that we're going to get going forward. I think this Devin Haney is now Devin Haney. I don't think it's going to change in the slightest. I truly don't. And it's not because I'm trying to hate. It's because this was a fight where even what we normally see with Devin Haney as a boxer, this blew those expectations out the water in the worst way. We know he's defensive. We've never seen him as conservative. We know he's judicial with his punches. He barely threw his jab. We know he can counter. He barely looked for counters. And when he did throw, he immediately skated out. Not in a sense of, okay, I'm being smart and tactical, but as if he was scared of what could come back to get him. I don't think this Devin Haney is a Devin Haney that is going to be different the next time out. I think what you see is what you get. Genuinely. I think with this Haney, what you see is what you get now. Because I truly believe that this man is scared to get caught. And he will fight, just like we complained about with Shakur, from this point going forward, to win the night, but not try to end the night. If anybody's got any level of power, because this is Ramirez, from great fighter, absolutely. We respect him, no question about it. He should have been able to cut off the ring. I completely capitulate that. He should have been able to stop the movement of Haney and make it so that he forces him into a fight. I get it. Absolutely. But at the same time, Haney was deathly afraid of any sort of internal engagement. He was clinching. He clinched, 22 times against Kambosos when he won the undisputed title the first time and defended it the second time. Even that fight wasn't nearly as boring or as conservative on his end as this one was. It wasn't. Go back and watch it. It wasn't even this boring. It wasn't this level of almost fear that he was having within himself when it came to the fight. This is a Haney that genuinely, I don't know if he is. I'm concerned that this brother really doesn't want to engage in the slightest. And I think it's gonna be what we see is what we get, and we're not gonna see anything different. But let me see what you have to say on the night. Let me see. Let's see. Yeah, reserve judgment until his next fight. I can't reserve it because I think this is what it is. I'm surprised Haney or Rowley didn't go for a Blair Cobb's caliber. If we're talking about like off the bat calling out for a next fight, Devin Haney might, but most likely not. For Rowley, if he really wants to cash in on this whole win, he might just go through and try to fight Boots. Because remember, we keep on saying this. Rowley and Boots Rowley is now one of Boots' mandatories because he won, I believe, the WBA regular title. And so now he's in line to potentially fight him. Now, is it going to end in a knockout for Boots? Knocking out Rowley? Almost assuredly. But be a payday. It will sell. Off the back to Rowley now being Ryan Garcia, that will be a fight that could be the fight that puts Boots on the pedestal that we think he should deserve. Absolutely. And so I would think that would be the fight he takes next. Not Blair Cobb. Not because Blair Cobb ain't good. He is. But because if you want notoriety, and we're looking at it from a business perspective, Boots right now is still off the backs of the great knockout against Stanionis. You off the backs of a knockdown and a win, outboxing of Ryan Garcia. Would make sense to do it, in my estimation. But again, holding the conversation. Let's see. Al Booker, once you reach the goal, win the belt, get a job as editor, what's the motivation to keep going? It's tough for a lot of people. It is. I'm not going to lie. It is. And it's like, and when you don't I think somebody said up here, silk pajamas. I think it was Jay Will that talked about that. But yeah, it's tough to keep the fire burning when you achieve something. It definitely is. It definitely is. No question about that. And so would Devin versus Rolly move the needle? It would. Devin versus Rolly. That fight would be a fight that would move the needle from the standpoint of it would get in the midst of the backlash, or rather in the midst of the trash talk, it would get people up and moving. It would. The midst of trash talk would get people up and moving for that fight. Now, in the immediate, because people don't want to see Devin Haney, that probably wouldn't be a needle moving fight initially. Because everybody's, again, you have to understand, everybody's looking at Haney right now as I regret everything. Everybody's looking at Haney right now. I regret ever waiting for this card, partially because Haney was so abhorrent as a fighter in this fight. He brought down his own star power and stock even in the win, even off the backs of Ryan Garcia losing. The reason why people ain't just so fervently jumping to Devin Haney's aid to help make fun of Ryan Garcia, it's because, buddy, he ain't got no room to laugh. He has no room to laugh. Because the performance that he put up for him might as well have been a loss. Because we all feel like, oh, brother, this man is terrible. From the standpoint of not just entertainment, but just of he doesn't want to fight. That's what a lot of people are feeling. So this fight with him, brother, this could have really hurt his stock. This could really be a bad situation for Haney as a fighter who gets people in the door, as a fighter who gets people wanting to make themselves, or rather wanting to pay to see this man do what he does. It's a terrible thing, but it's the truth. It's the truth of the matter. And so, and it's like, man, you hate it, you really do, but it is a frustrating situation that Haney right now has really hurt his stock for any major fight. Any major fight, people aren't going to want to see what's going about. And let's see. Let me see. Yeah, Haney versus Rolly. Yep, Albuga has a life lesson level. But yep, absolutely. Sabril swims in the deep end. Yeah, Sabril swims in the deep end. Sabril Matias, absolutely he does. But doggone it, that brother he'll get beat. He will. But I'm telling you, he'll keep on going. That's why we like to watch him fight. Black Hop is exciting, and I like his smack talking. But Ryan knocked him out in sparring. Yeah, he did. And so now again, we don't do the triangle theory. Everybody can't beat everybody because somebody beat somebody else. But he did beat Adrian Broner in terms of Blair Cobb. That is a feather in the cap that can help bolster his notoriety from the standpoint of, hey, I beat an old dude who was known, who is seen in the public eye as, we recognize him. You don't want to mess with me, use all that rah-rah and talk. So he could sell, absolutely. But I think as a name, he needs to get more active, in my humble estimation. He needs to be more active, not just with his mouth, because he already did, again, just talk a lot, but in the ring, do a little bit more stuff. Let's see, I did not know Ryan beat Virgil twice in the amateur. Now, I didn't know that. Now, that's news to me. Now, that is news to me. I did not know that Ryan beat Virgil in the amateur. So you teaching me something. I did not know that at all. Do I think he beats him now? No, but but that is a surprise that y'all are teaching me right now. Let's see, I said that about Haney. His mental reflexes to getting hit is going to cost him his career. There's a blockage now, and I'm not saying that because he is a bad fighter, but we saw very much apparently that he does not want anything to do with any type of danger in the slightest at all. Because if he does face that again and do get caught, I think he's going to be afraid of how he's going to react. Genuine. And I think those concerns of being fearful of getting touched now come up again. Now just like I said, I don't want to say it, I don't want to call it hesitation. But to some degree, there is a whole game plan hesitation of having any form of engagement happening to him in the slightest up until he feels objectively fully comfortable. It's why later on in the rounds, very, very late, when he was up by like 9 rounds, then he started trying to go and counter Ramirez. But even then, he would be scared and throwing the punches to try to counter Ramirez and then do the best he can to exit his way back out. Not in a tactical sense, but in more of a fearful type of mentality. But let me keep on reading. But Shakur tries to fight and then he hurts his hands and then runs. That's a huge difference. Somebody brought this up. It was Devin Haney threw or landed 5 more punches than Shakur Stevenson. And I think threw only like 10 more in the whole fight. But Shakur, we're talking about the Shakur fight with De Los Santos, but Shakur had broken his hand before that fight. And Devin Haney had both his hands healthy. And yet, he still was throwing that similar level of punch output and landing it outright. There's a completely different connotation. That's why I kept on making sure I made a distinction of while that fight was a bad fight with Shakur, he was injured in that fight. So he could not use his weapons to be able to go against a power puncher. So he, to some degree, had to do that. It still was a terrible fight. He still could have fought in a different style and been more entertaining and been more aggressive to show his whole array of styles. But still, we saw what happened. And so, but we make sure to give the proper context. Again, context is everything. We never overlook context, because without it, you then just made look like a fool because you don't get the full story of why something occurred. But with this fight, with Haney, there wasn't really an excuse. There wasn't an excuse in the slightest, especially when you found out, okay, you had the reflexes and speed to outmaneuver him. You should still be able to do a lot of great work and still get out without fighting in a manner that you don't want to engage in the slightest. That's a problem. That's a major problem. He should have stood in there a few times just to feel some punches. Not even. Just to show us that, yeah, I don't need to run to be aggressive. I can be slick. I can pop in the center of the ring. I can stand my ground. I can do what we saw Floyd do against the likes of Miguel Cotto, against the likes of Sugar Shane Mosley. I can box and be technical while still being in the midst of the fire. Because we know he's got that ability. He doesn't even want to do that. There's a difference in using your feet and running. Devin Haney wasn't using his feet. Floyd used his feet. Napoleon Loche used his feet. Plenty of boxers have used their feet and not ran. Shakur can use his feet and not run, but at times he'll go into that territory. But more likely than not, if you watch him fight, he'll stand in front of you when he's healthy. He'll stand in front of you, somewhat akin to what we saw with Floyd, and he'll box you right with you in his front mirror. Half steps back, but still walking forward, throwing out that jab, standing his ground. He can do all that. Devin has a similar ability, but the issue is that PTSD is still there. It's still there. And so let's see, Yo Trey, Ryan went out bad from the Haney situation to roll. Oh yeah, he did. We getting ready to touch on Ryan right now. Haney's eyes were so wide as if an 18-wheeler was coming right at him. He was shook. Yeah, because he was trying to make sure he did not run into any situations that he did in the last fight. He was alert because he was trying to make sure to mitigate all sorts of danger. So I can get in, get out, do what I need to do, win, and then move on. But it made for a horrible fight. Absolutely. I just seen a shirtless Broner pop up at an overgrown backyard with a bottle looking in his hand. Beating Brony isn't exactly impressive these days. It's not. Again, that was the last fight. I think he said, like, nah, I'm done. I think his girl was even on video saying, like, nah, he done. And so, all credit to him. Glad he's enjoying his life. So, yeah, from the standpoint of big grandeur, nah, it's not that impressive. It's not. We'll be real. But as a useful point to make yourself or to hype yourself up, because it's a name of the past, Blair Cobb can use it. But even still, if he wants to get in these ranks of being in the midst of big-time fights on a consistent basis, got to be more deliberate with this ability to be recognizable. Get in the ring some more. That's what you're gonna have to do. And so, but again, as we continue to go through with this whole show, we still got to cover the likes of Ryan Garcia versus Rolly in a fight that was, I mean, we can talk about Devin Haney not wanting to punch. And again, also, if you're here, leave a like on the stream. I almost forgot. Hey, we're talking about boxing and so much more on this show. If you like what you hear, leave a like on the stream. And keep on commenting and chatting. And we will read it up. And I will keep on looking to get this chat fixed so we can have everybody posting, or I can click on the stuff that I want to click on so people can actually, pop up like we normally do on the show. But we're still going to have ourselves a time. That ain't going to change in the slightest. But as we have this, again, with this whole weekend, Ryan versus Rolly was a complete and utter disaster on the side of Ryan Garcia. Because now we have a case for him, and the PEDs actually being the reason why he was able to do what he did against Devin Haney. Because Rolly, by all accounts, is nowhere close to as great of a boxer as the likes of Devin Haney. But Rolly outboxed Ryan for 10 rounds. I'm so serious. And it was with simple stuff. It was with a lot of normal stuff that Rolly does all the time. Jabs to the body, some jabs to the head, hooks as he's leaping forward to try to close the distance. But this time, retooled it with being smart, keeping his guard up, not being as reckless with his aggression and getting in on the inside, but taking advantage of Ryan Garcia and his inactivity. So, again, all credit to Rolly. He proved me wrong. He shut me up. He did everything I said he could not do. He did everything I said he would never be able to do from the standpoint of being a great boxer. Absolutely. And you will not hear me go through and just rain on his parade because there's nothing to say. And he's like, ooh, Ryan, we're looking at him and we're saying, brother, and I think I said this on the live stream, but for those of you who weren't on the live stream, everything that I was scared of that we would see from Devin Haney happened to Ryan Garcia. Ryan got gunshot. Ryan got scared of getting caught. Ryan got scared of getting hurt. Ryan Garcia wasn't even willing to use his whole offense. Ryan was hesitant. And it lost him. It really lost him. And he's faced off against big punches like Oscar Duarte and others before. And I bet Rolly ex-trainer Bullet mad. I can imagine that brother mad. I can imagine that brother mad. Absolutely. But, like, here's the reason why he left, because he won it. Let's see. To be fair, in all the scenarios that fight could have played out, I did not see Rolly winning by unanimous decision. Neither did I. Brother, neither did I. Do you think I would have ever picked Rolly to fight with Ryan and Rolly to end in a unanimous decision for Rolly? Outboxing Ryan? Not knocking him out. Not, knocking him down multiple times, but knocking him down and then outboxing him on a technical level? Never in my wildest dreams. But again, he elevated his game to a level I didn't think he could get to. He seems to be a different fighter. He seems to be a more stringent fighter from the standpoint of he is a lot more tactical, a lot more deliberate with the movements that he wants to make and the style that he likes to fight. So credit to Rolly, no question. We will never discredit her. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, brother, you here now. You here now. You here. We ain't got nothing. I as much as I can say I don't like you because of the stuff I've seen in the past in the ring, I can't say nothing now. Because you fixed, you fixed many stuff that I said that you wouldn't be able to fix. I ain't got nothing to say. But on the side of Ryan, we got a lot to say now. Oh, we got an abundance of stuff to say. Where's the drive? Where was the aggression? Where was the willingness to throw some punches? Where was the attempt to try anything new? If the left hook ain't working, where's the right straight? Where's the long uppercut? Where are any of these other types of punches that can make you able to have a monicum of success in your arsenal? Where is the Ryan that we know is able to be a still dangerous fighter? Because right now, I'm not seeing it. Right now, many people are saying it's gone. Many people we got some major concerns now. We got huge concerns now in the realm of Ryan Garcia. We are looking at him as a fraud. Like, to some degree, we're looking at this brother as like, what are you doing? How could this be the Ryan that we've seen before? It makes no sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. And so, like, and let me see. I love how all these so-called boxing experts don't give Rolly a chance. And they don't give him a chance because of what he has shown in the past. But now, we can't say that no more. We can't say that no more. Rolly against Ryan is no longer just Rolly versus Devin. That ain't a fight that's just a ho-hum type of situation. But it has some danger. That's actually some danger. That is legitimately some danger. Rolly versus, if it's at 147, because that's where I believe they fought at the catch weight at 143, but I think they're fighting at 147 as a whole. Like, that's not, it's a real proposition now for boxers or for fighters to go through and have Rolly face off against them for their title. Again, Rolly versus Boots. That is now an actual possibility. Rolly versus Barrios. It's a plethora of fighters. And Rolly against Devin Haney is not just a hearsay type of situation. This is real. This is really real. This is legitimate. This is like, oh my gosh. This is territory that we didn't expect. And we got to say, Rolly can get some people some work. We got to say this version of Rolly against Devin Haney, that's a fight that Devin Haney better be careful of. We have to respect that now. Like, we can't just have it as a whole home type of deal. We gotta respect it. Conor Ben said he's definitely going back to 147. Rolly versus Conor Ben. That's another fight. That is another fight. All of that is possible now. In terms of Rolly versus other matchups, it's possible. And he is no longer just a footnote or a boxer that, mind you, I had said Rolly was a fighter that you bring in to get hype for a fight, to get excitement for a fight, and then to get him knocked out to help the other fighter's career. Because at the elite level at that point in time, he showed he wasn't about that. He showed he wasn't up there. But now he is up there. Now he is doing that. Now he is indeed showing up and showing out. So the only thing that we can say is like, dang. The only thing we can say is shoot. He's here. And Ben versus Rolly in Vegas, that's a legitimate thing. Boots will kill Rolly. I can't see PBC throwing Rolly to the wolves right now. I mean, again, I got Rolly getting knocked out by him, but still, it's not impossible. It's not impossible that Rolly Romero can't potentially give a respectable fight. Though Boots' league's better, no question about it. But I'm like, with what Rolly showed this fight in a level of maturity, in a level of evolution, in a level of actual, smart boxing, I can't put it out that, hey, that fight couldn't happen, and maybe he shocks us again. Because this was so out of left field the first time. From what I was looking at when I watched this fight. And so I'm thinking, man, it's impossible. No disrespect to Rolly. See, and I'm like, I'm with you. I really am. I'm just trying to give respect to what we witnessed, to understand that it's 99% sure Rolly's going to get destroyed if we fought against Boots. But that 1% of Rolly winning only exists because of this fight that he's had with Ryan Garcia and fighting in a manner that we didn't think he would do. It wasn't just the win. It was the way that he won that is impressive. It wasn't just him getting the knockdown. It was outboxing Ryan for almost 12 rounds. That's the difference. That's what makes this a more, hey, I got to give respect in that regard. Though we know Boots is better. That 1% chance ain't just because, it's a puncher's chance. What we saw Rolly do now, we got to put some respect on it. We have to. And so that's why I'm the way I am about that fight. But even still, one more thing about Ryan. Well, we can talk about a lot of stuff with Ryan. With Ryan now, where does he go from here? And by that I mean, yes, he's still a star. Yes, he'll still be a great, entertaining boxer. But now, where does he go as a fighter? Because all of a sudden, the brother, seemingly he got exposed. That if you take away that left hook, and if you got some pop behind you that he's got to be concerned with, he turns into a very stringent fighter. He turns into a conservative fighter in his own right, like with Devin Haney. Only relying on the jab and the best thing to keep him safe. But it was like he didn't even attempt to change. He didn't even attempt to go through and do something different. And it might be because it wasn't anything different that he could do. And we had to ask against the likes of Ryan, of the others at 147, what does this mean? What does this mean? For him as a boxer in his career, what does this mean for him? Because I am concerned. I'm really concerned. Beyond just, the fight taking place and him losing, the way that he lost has me asking a lot of questions that I didn't think I would have to ask about Ryan Garcia. I didn't think I would have to ask about him being a gunshot. I didn't think I would have to ask about him not being able to find a home for the left hook. I didn't think I would have to ask about him being a fighter who could not get his bearings offensively due to the threat of what's coming at him. I didn't think this would be a fight that I would have witnessed ever. But here we are. And let me see, Trey, I did not look, it did look like the first punch Ryan ate. Oh, excuse me, it did look like the first punch Ryan ate, but the second punch knocked him off balance. And the first hook, yeah, that's the one that caught him. He was going down. Then the second hook fully pushed him back. But the first hook that landed, that's the one that did some damage. Again, similar to not nearly as destructive, but similar to what we saw with the punch that Inoue got caught on him against Cardenas. If Cardenas had followed up with another hook, he would have forced Inoue down even more. But Inoue was already going down. Ryan, when he got caught with that hook, his chin was in the air. He brought his block down, like we saw Inoue do the next night. And similar to how he got knocked down by Luke Campbell, he went rigid trying to block and got caught. So he was already going down. It was the second punch that just, again, finished the job. But he was going down regardless. Oh, yes, he was. Because it was like a tree that got top heavy once that punch landed. And then timber. Brother goes down. But after that, he didn't even attempt to go and still get the get back. Because he had to have known that he needs to do something to push the pace or else he would have lost. He had to have known that he needed to do something to get to get some level of momentum back in his arsenal. Or else he would have lost. Because eventually Rolly adapted to the jab that I think won the next 2 rounds after Ryan Garcia's knockdown. But then afterwards, Ryan Garcia didn't pull out anything else. He didn't pull out the straight right hand, which could have been effective. He didn't pull out a right hook to go on the other side of Rolly's block that was actually available. He didn't try to push the pace and come in on Rolly. They were both circling each other at that mid-range level, and Rolly was content, but Ryan was afraid. We're looking at that, and I'm saying, shoot, brother, that's an indictment. Because you didn't even do this against Luke Campbell. You didn't even do this against Tank. You did not even do this against Tank Davis. When Tank knocked you down, you still came forward. When Luke Campbell knocked you down, you still came forward. And then about 3 rounds later, you knocked him down with a hook to the body. Tank caught you with another left hook off of a counter, similar to Rolly. And you got up, was aggressive and all that stuff, and you came forward. This was a Ryan that is very much questionable. And I'm afraid. I'm afraid it's because of Derrick James. I'm afraid it might be because of Derrick James. Because this is the second time Third time we've seen Derrick James train a fighter, and all of a sudden they look like a shell of what we expect them to be in the whole of their talent as a boxer. I don't get what's going on. Derrick James is a great trainer, but this looks to be a horrible fit. Potentially, at least right now. Because whatever he was trying to do, it wasn't happening. Whatever he was trying to implement, it was not working. Whatever he was trying to garner was indeed, it wasn't getting through. And there were no changes to Ryan in that fight that you would think Derrick James would have been able to get out of Ryan Garcia. I'm not trying to disparage Derrick James as a trainer. I'm just saying this looked like it didn't work. I'm calling it like I see it. This looked like this. But Ryan may be smart to go back to Canelo's camp. Go back to training under Eddie Reynoso's. That might be the best thing for him if we want to see him get back to form of what we normally witness for him as a boxer. Because right now, beyond just him by himself, this fit don't look like it's fitting. It don't. It doesn't seem like it's working like it should, in my estimation. Let me see. I never thought that Ryan could be that defensively sound. Oh, you mean Rolly? I never thought that Rolly could be that defensive sound. No, I didn't either. And see, Derrick James has had it rough the last couple years with Jamel, Spence, Ryan, Martin. AJ did train that brother, didn't he? Yep, AJ did train that brother. And he left him too. I don't know what's going on. Again, the training world, the more people know more about that than me. I'm strictly saying what it looks to be a bad fit. It looks to be a very bad fit right now. And he may not. I don't know why Derrick James and all of a sudden, the opponents he's fighting against, it ain't working like you would think. It ain't. Now, with respect, Frank Martin faced off against Tank. It's Tank. Ryan and Spence, those are the two big, or Ryan, Spence, and Mel, those are the ones that are like really bad. Because Spence got beaten so soundly that it was like Derrick James wasn't even in the corner. Ryan got beat by a boxer that many people thought shouldn't be able to outbox that brother in the slightest. And Mel, we know the problems we've had with him. And so it's like Derrick James was on top of the world one year and next fell off the map. I'm like, shoot. He was coach of the year one year. And then just completely, but whatever he's teaching, it better be built to scale for one fighter and one fighter only. Because right now, it ain't working. Right now, it ain't working. But more specifically, the last thing about Ryan that I really want to discuss. Ryan right now is at a point of understandable hate. Because let's be real. For all the stuff that we were saying about Devin Haney, with the drugs, the lawsuits, the PEDs, all that stuff. Now, already he's been under ridicule. Already he's been under the real microscopic level due to the PEDs and popping dirty fostering. Now, he is further in that rabbit hole of everybody lamenting and saying, brother, you suck. You really suck. And this is on top of the racist tirades. This is on top of what seems to be drug-ridden tangents. This is on top of acting crazy. This is on top of a slew of other actions, coupled with now this loss, coupled with you popping dirty. All of this already had Ryan Garcia looking like he was in a bad state mentally. Now, with this loss and all of that weighing on him and all the backlash of all that happened over the course of like the last year or two falling on him now, brother, with this loss to Rolly of all people, which in the public eye is a very bad type of situation, man, I tell you, everything I was saying about the likes of I'm scared of what Devin Haney's going to be like after a loss, or if he loses, I'm also afraid of what Ryan's going to be like after all of this, with all this coming about at him. He can't go outside. He can't go on Instagram. He can't go on Twitter, social media. He can't go out to eat anything without somebody going to bring up all of this stuff that we saw and that we witnessed, culminating with this loss and throwing it back in his face. It's going to be oh boy, oh man. His mental state better be locked in. He better have a close circle of people around him, because this could affect him beyond the boxing ring. And in the boxing ring, I got to think, but I'm kind of concerned with what he's going to be as a boxer going forward. I think that with what we saw with Devin Haney, that's going to be the Devin Haney as we continue to go through his career. But with Ryan, shoot, I don't know what he's going to be like now. I don't know what I'm genuinely concerned. I'm actively concerned. And so, like, we're going to have to wait and see. But I'm telling you, this whole weekend has brought a lot to light that we didn't think we needed to have conversations with. And I almost forgot for the last topic of the show, or for the last topic of the boxing segment, we still got one more fight coming through with the likes of Canelo versus Skull. That took place. That was very much so a fight that, I'll be completely honest, that fight brought up a lot of questions. In fact, let me see if I can get this. Still trying to make sure I got this chat working. Let me see. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Hold on. And shoot, this still ain't working. We gonna figure it out some way. We gonna figure it out in some regard. We gonna make it work. I'm still trying to make sure we got the chat working like it's supposed to. But hey, we gonna rock with it regardless. But with the last thing that we got to cover for this whole weekend, but with Canelo and Skull, like another fight that was completely adjacent to what we expected to see happen. And now we really need to look at with this situation as we're going into the next topic. Brother, Canelo versus Crawford now has a whole new connotation. We got a whole new conversation. We got a whole new type of situation now with this fight. Because like I said, it was not a boring occasion. It was not a boring affair. It was another snooze fest on a night that was supposed to be the biggest crescendo. And Canelo, while again, he beat him, absolutely. And the brother didn't want to try to fight, no question. He wasn't even attempting to make something happen, absolutely. But what was happening, Canelo wasn't cutting off the ring. Canelo was really fighting in a way that wasn't like he was bored. And I get it, because Skull wasn't trying in the slightest. But now, we can't deny that this is the last thing that we're seeing before the likes of Terrence Crawford. This fight now is a lot more interesting. I'm seeing a lot more people online have a conversation about Canelo versus Skull, or have a conversation about Canelo versus Crawford, especially after seeing them match up against each other, standing in the center of the ring. That there may be some more nuances to this fight that we did not talk about, that we should be talking about, that has the likes of Canelo potentially in a concerning way, based on what we saw with this fight. Because if Canelo doesn't like movers, and we see Crawford being able to move and actually be active, there might be a way to victory. Because I'm not saying that, again, we understand the boxing level. Both of them are indeed neck and neck when it comes to the standpoint of being phenomenal IQ-driven fighters. Absolutely. But if this Canelo really isn't as fleet of foot or has the same capacity to cut off the ring as we normally see in the past, now we got ourselves a real question. Now there's a new dynamic to what this fight with Crawford could be. Remember, the boxing ability of Crawford, it's something that could be more devastating than I expected on the night of September 12th? September 13th? Whenever that fight is this year in Las Vegas, Nevada. this could really be a concerning type of development, a genuine cause for pause that we got to talk about with this whole fight with Canelo versus Crawford, that has us saying Crawford may have a bigger chance than we may expect. And the reason for that 50-50 type of discussion that we had talked about months ago between Crawford and Canelo is now no longer just a pipe dream. It's no longer just, betting odds, trying to keep it close because of the name power of both fighters. I think this fight with Skull may have showed us something more than the boxing ability of Crawford being just a plot point for the sake of intrigue. But in all actuality, it's a legitimate point of contention that maybe could give Canelo some real trouble. And Crawford's bigger than Canelo. I'm talking from a height perspective. He's bigger than Canelo, and already Crawford out in the ring versus Canelo training in the ring. Crawford doesn't look nearly as small as I would have thought he would be, comparative to the stocky brickhouse nature that Canelo is as a fighter. There's a lot of stuff we got to think about as we get ready for this fight going forward. We're going to think about it more. We're going to have more discussions. Now we'd love to hear from you, absolutely, on your opinions on all of this. But I'm telling you, there's some interesting stuff. There was some really interesting stuff that we need to talk about in the landscape of this whole fighting endeavor. And we should be eyeing this matchup more closely than ever. Or we're going to have think pieces. We're going to have debates. And I can't wait to see what you all have to say as we go forward into the whole of this event. As we're winding down the months up until the biggest fight of the year, Crawford versus Canelo, happening in September. Oh, I'm excited for it. Absolutely. But now, that's about everything I've covered from the standpoint of the boxing topics. And now, I want to hear from you what you got to say in your own questions, comments, and concerns. So let's jump into the world of your voices, or make your voice heard throughout the whole of this show. It's time for the championship rounds. Hey. Oh, yes. Let's get it started with the championship rounds. We got, an hour 23 on this show. We got roughly 10 to 15 or 15 to 30 minutes based on how many people we have talking on the show. Whatever you want to discuss, whatever questions that you have, comments, debates, whether it's in the NBA, whether it's in boxing, whether it's in football, basketball, all this stuff. We can talk about it all. I want to hear from you. Give me your comments and chats on the weekend as a whole, your biggest surprises, your biggest letdowns, all of that. Love to hear from you and see what you guys see now. And now the chat starts to work. Now I can click and bring stuff up. I don't know what was taking so long, but doggone it, it works now. Finally, I'm so sorry. See, I got it fixed. I told you it was going to kick in eventually. I told you I was going to work on it. Now I got it fixed. Doggone it. While we're here now, came in at the perfect time. Let's see what you all have to say. Yes, indeed. With the comments on the championship rounds. You can talk about whatever you want to discuss in the chat below. Let me see. Skull trained his whole life, and when he finally got to the Super Bowl of his sport at Canelo, that's how you perform, and that's why he won't get another fight. Let's be real. That's why he won't get another fight. He won't get another opportunity. He won't get another opportunity ever. He will not be able to fight on any major card for the rest of his career. He will not. It will be hard for him to get a fight on a mid-card level main event. It's gonna. He forfeited. He won't have to fight again because of the money that he made. But he won't fight again. I promise you that. Oh, I can promise you that. Knicks beating the Celtics. Yep, Knicks beat the Celtics. Wait a minute. Oh my gosh. Go New York, go. Yes, sir. That's right. The Knicks beat Boston in a thriller, an absolute a knockdown, drag out type of performance with Malik Bridges. It's Malik Mikal Bridges that ripped away the ball from Jaylen Brown in the last seconds from when it looked like they were down with 16 at one point in time in the third quarter, I believe, and they were in dire straits, and they came back and just gritted it out. I mean, Tibbs didn't sit anybody down, and it worked. Oh gosh, it worked. We had Bridges playing 48, almost 50 minutes in the game. Jalen Brunson missed a clutch floater that we thought was going to win it. Oh no. But still, they pulled it out in overtime in a phenomenal series. We got ourselves a series, folks. We got ourselves an NBA matchup that could potentially be the biggest upset of the whole event. If we see Boston get knocked out before we see them versus Cleveland. And also, don't forget, Indiana versus Cleveland is also happening. And that's going to be a game or a series that be prepared, because Cleveland is in for a war from the best offense in the league right now that just out hustles you every step of the way. Though their talent on paper doesn't look as great as other teams. Oh, it's stupid how much they're able to run you out the gym. We could see 2 upsets back to back. I didn't expect it to be that Boston was going to lose to the Knicks, but now, we got ourselves a series. And if Cleveland and Indiana plays out like I think it's going to play out, Cleveland's going to need all the chemistry that they've garnered and more throughout the whole of the season, because Indiana will run amok over you if you ain't careful. They'll score 20 to 30 straight before you can even look up, before you can blink, before halftime. They'll go on a 10-0 run before you know what's hit you. It's insane. I'm telling you, in the East, playoffs are heating up. In the East, the playoffs are heating up. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now we're getting down and dirty. Turkey Money didn't get these guys to leave it all out in the ring. And like we've seen this type of bad performance before from Skrull and Canelo, with Canelo and Jermell Charlo. Let's not forget that. It ain't just Turkey Money. It's the boxers. Like, you forget, Inoue is an ambassador for Riyadh season as well. And it's under the likes of Turkey Al-Sheikh. And he left it all in there. Cardenas left it all in there. And this is Cardenas' biggest payday ever. He said he doesn't have to drive Lyft anymore. At all. But he still showed up and put on a performance that has set him up even better. Beyond just the payday. Josh Padley. He lost to the likes of Shakur, but he gave it his all. We can't say that he ran. We can't say that he didn't try to take advantage of the moment. And now he got a first-round KO right afterwards, and we are all looking at him, and we're following his career from when he was relatively unknown to the masses because he actually tried. This is what it pays to attempt to do something. Ajagba and Bakoli, they tried against each other. We are Mungia tried to get his get back against Saras and won. Looked clean. Looked great, actually. It's on the fighters to try. I have no problem with the money. I want boxers to get paid what they deserve. Absolutely. And we've seen it with people like Dana White, who has been a big concern with him not paying the fighters the pays that their stardom should get. And people really, even as one of the biggest stars in the UFC, not being able to live like that stardom you would think would have. Now, with Turkey, he's giving people the wages that they deserve. Love it. It's on the boxers to make the most of it. And if they don't do it, well, their reputation and career goes down the toilet because they don't try. They don't. And so I hate it, but it's like, man, I'm not going to ever say don't pay people. I'm not ever going to say don't make it so that people want to fight by paying them skinny wages. I'm not going to ever say don't pay, boxers shouldn't get paid or athletes shouldn't get paid. But on the athletes themselves, it's on them to actually make the most of their opportunity. And if they don't, it's not the money that's the problem. It's the fighter that's the problem. And so, let's see, Skull looks the part, big athletic, but he doesn't fight like it. No, he doesn't. OKC doesn't have a Zubac that can contain Jokic from going off. And yeah, Jokic had 42 game 1 against the Clippers. And excuse me. He had 42 last night. He had a dominant performance, it was actually a team dominant performance in game 7 against the Clippers that took place. Aaron Gordon hits the game winner yesterday night in a fight that was, or in a game that was, just knocked down, drag out ball. Westbrook showed up. Christian Braun almost gave up the game, letting Shai Gilgeous-Alexander get to the basket for an easy dunk. And Aaron Gordon gets a fast break, or Chet misses both free throws. Christian Braun gets the rebound, passes it to Westbrook. Westbrook makes a great decision, a phenomenal decision in his old hometown of OKC. When he could have tried to make the hero play, made the right pass, drove to the basket, kicked it out to Aaron Gordon. Aaron hits the three to win the game. Phenomenal sequence. Right now, Westbrook's shutting me up. And as much as we've lamented about the Nuggets having all the turmoil throughout the season, rosters and coaching, they're looking like, hey, they're getting back to form. And with Jokic having 42 and 20, Jokic having 42 and 20 last game. Ridiculous. I mean, ridiculous. I told y'all, this is my MVP. You can't teach dominance like that. And so, but this is going to be one of the best series of the whole playoff career, or playoff tenure. I promise you, absolutely. Zubac did well to keep Jokic at 24 a game. That's 6 points under his average. Last night, Jokic goes for 42. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's that big body of Jokic was able to, of Zubac was able to contain Jokic to some degree. But Chet, even with the height, I'm telling you, it's a different beast. You're playing with a different mode as well. Because Jokic in playoff mode is one of the most dominant players that we have in the game. Period. One of the most dominant players I've seen in history. And so it's insane to see. What do you think about Turkey saying Dana White will be promoting the Bud versus Canelo fight? So, it can work. It can work. But Dana's got to do it right. We've seen the best of Dana's marketing. McGregor versus Aldo. Jones versus Cormier. We've seen it with McGregor versus Nurmagomedov. As a promoter and getting the marketable fights up, it can be great. Absolutely. It's going to be his first stint under the TKO banner of him being in control of getting intrigue up for a fight in the boxing realm. But still, there's some things that might be amiss if he goes about it wrong. If he does it right, if he really does it right, he can turn this into one of the biggest events of the whole year and get the hype up for an insane type of payday and pay-per-view buys, sold-out arenas, and buzz across the globe. Not to mention the UFC's partnership with ESPN and him consistently being on there will help him be able to sell this fight to the masses. Because under TKO and with WWE, that whole banner, he's got access to be able to have this on everybody's radar from the gate. But he's got to start now. It would be stupid for him not to start now with marketing this campaign. Going through and bringing both boxers to UFC events. Going through and getting them on Ariel Helwani. Getting them on First Take. Getting them on other platforms across the globe. Pinpointing podcasts and YouTube shows to getting interviews. It would be great. He's got connections. If he can make it happen, it'll be phenomenal. But if he doesn't, it'll be a failure. No question. Skull really messed himself up. I just don't understand why he chose to go out like that. Because of his own volition. Again, got the money. He thought he was winning, which was stupid. But he genuinely thought he was winning that fight. But don't worry. He's going to find out real quick that he gave up the world of boxing being at his feet. Potentially, if he had a great fight, too, now, nobody's going to want to care about him anymore. And also, Teach, what's good with the salute to you? Thanks for tuning in to the show. Absolutely. And again, the chat is just now working. So for those of you who have been commenting and chatting over in the past, I appreciate it. Absolutely. I am so sorry. Now everything's kicking in like it's supposed to. And we can bring the chats up from whatever you all want to say. But it's perfect because now we're in the championship rounds. So we can talk about whatever you all want to discuss for the next, 15 to 30 minutes. Absolutely. As we're at the end of the show, I think the Nugs got this series. I don't know. It's really going to be apparent when Game 2 happens. It's going to be apparent when Game 2 happens. When Game 2 takes place, that's when we're going to see really if the Nuggets got this series or not. Because one of the biggest things about OKC, they can make adjustments like nobody else. They got a roster that can fit with anybody in the NBA. And so now, if they still get dominated in Game 2, now we got ourselves a thing where, yeah, I think Jokic and Nuggets, they're going to take it. But right now, with as close as game one was, one possession ending the game, I can't say for certain that it's going to be that the Nuggets got this in their bag. I respect it, absolutely. And I can understand why. But I'm expecting major changes from OKC in game two that will really tell the story of what the series is going to be like for the whole of this entire playoff, current playoff position up until the next round. But I'm excited for it nonetheless. It's going to be the series to watch. Mark my words. Absolutely. But let me see. Angry Mexican, what's good with you? Hey, glad to get back. Appreciate you tuning into the show. Do you think Bivol ducked Benavidez? So, Bivol, I will say no because of who he's going to fight. Bivol fighting Beterbiev to go on and cap off that trilogy. I'm not going to call that a duck because they are split 1-1. And remember, I did say I want that trilogy done sooner rather than later because I don't know how long we're going to see Artur Beterbiev at this elite state because he's 40 plus years old. Most likely will be 41 by the time that fight takes place. So because of that, I'm okay with this fight happening. Though I hate the fact that Benavidez isn't getting its proper shot at fighting for a title and instead had to get emailed a championship, which again is not bad. We've seen it happen before because situations happen. Benavidez has not robbed the sport, neither has Bivol. I hate the fact that he didn't get to win it inside the ring. But now he's going to defend it like a champion. And after we get in, again, the thing with this whole fight, there is a timeline that can take place. We can see Benavidez have the belt and then fight the winner of Bivol versus Beterbiev. And then afterwards, now he goes and fights for undisputed fully on what will potentially be an even bigger type of occasion. Because of the again, absence makes the heart grow fonder. We wanted that fight to happen. Now, if, depending on who wins, we get Benavidez versus Bivol or Beterbiev, then now, if Benavidez wins, he's the undisputed light heavyweight champion. He carved out his own way. He made his own goals. And now we get afterwards Canelo, or excuse me, now we get potentially before that, Canelo versus Crawford. And so the timeline would be, if Canelo does beat Crawford, and Benavidez does win the undisputed title from the winner of Bivol versus Beterbiev, now Benavidez holds all the cards because he backed Canelo into a corner that you got to fight me now because I beat the man that beat you. Or I beat the man that beat the man that beat you. Regardless of which, I'm the crescendo. You got to fight me. And the fans won't accept anything else except for you fighting me at 175. And if you're really about your get back that you said that you wanted because you missed out on winning a title because you lost to Bivol outright at 175 the last time, now I beat him. Again, hypothetically, I beat him. Or I beat Beterbiev, who beat him. So if you really are about that rah-rah, you're going to come up and fight me. You just said you hate fighting for people that run, like with William Skull, who you just lamented was a terrible fight. I don't run. I didn't run against Morrell. I didn't run against Lemieux. I didn't run against Andre. I didn't run against Caleb Plant. I've never ran in my career. You want somebody to get in front of you? I'll be in front of you if you're Dave Benavidez. But you got to come to me because now you don't hold the cards anymore from the standpoint of where this fight can take place. And I'm the end-all be-all. Especially now with these last slew of, let's be honest, names that people see are as not great, fights that people have been underwhelmed with, and Benavidez doing everything that he's been doing. There's a pathway that Benavidez can force Canelo into a corner. He's got to fight him at 175. There really is. And that's why I'm saying I'm okay with this fight happening with Bivol and Beterbiev. Because ultimately, I know what's going to happen when Benavidez gets his real shot. Now, the road to Canelo finally begins. And if I got to wait a little bit longer, though I don't want it to be the case, I can do it. I can do it. And so will Bivol go to Vegas to fight David for his belt? Benavidez already said he's a Vegas fighter. He ain't going to Saudi. Yeah. Yes, he will. Bivol has never ducked smoke, and he'll fight anywhere and everywhere. He'll fight wherever he needs to. And also, because of how big that fight would be, especially in Las Vegas, Nevada. Like, yeah, money will most likely be right. Money will most likely be apropos, unless, again, it's Turkey Al Sheikh saying, I'll pay you more to do it somewhere else. It could be. But I would imagine he'd be open to it. That's where it had to take place. Especially since Benavidez and his base is big in the States. It's getting bigger in the States. Not just, again, it's huge already in Mexico, but it's getting bigger here in the States. Especially with these last couple fights he's been a part of. So, yeah, I would imagine, yeah, he'd be willing to do it. Though, we've seen stranger things take place. We've seen people go to Saudi Arabia because the money is just so big. But again, like I've said before, more than just the venue, I care about the fight more than anything. More than the venue. Because like I said, we have been starved for so long of the quality type of opposition on a consistent basis facing off against each other that people got more worried about where the fight was going to take place than the fight actually happening. Now, we're more consistently getting these fights just happening. I'm content with that right now. Sure, I would love it to be in the States or in the meccas where it would be, the most event pomp and circumstance. And the stuff in New York is great. I would love for that to happen more often to make it so that the average public can get exposed to the sport on a grander scale. But the biggest thing is just making the fights happen first on a consistent basis, and then afterwards. Now, okay, once we got a consistency done and down packed, now let's start worrying about the venue. That's my opinion on it. I value the venue, actually, absolutely. I value the location, absolutely. But because I understand how quickly this sport can still go downhill in a heartbeat with getting fights that we don't want, already in the midst of what has been a boxing renaissance over the past 3 years, from 2023 to 2025, we have been still, on so many occasions, not given the fights that we want to make happen. So let's get the consistency of that part down first. And then afterwards, moreover, I'll be more stringent on, okay, let's get this fight happening at a location that it makes sense and that will add to the gravitas of the whole thing, as well as sell out. But right now, I'm focused on just making the fights happen. I could care less where it happens. Just make it happen. My gosh. And thankfully, right now, we're on that type of time thus far. But again, we still got some time. We roughly 10 minutes left. Again, if you're here, leave a like on the stream. If you're here, if you haven't already, to help get the likes up on the whole of this show and push out to the algorithm to make everybody want to see and stay and listen to what we got to say right here on the Watch Report, where we're here every Tuesday and Thursday, no doubt about it. But as we continue to go forward, we are still looking to see what you all got to say in the ramifications of, hey, your opinions. Anything you want to say on the realm of Inoue, the backs of Inoue. Do you think that now Inoue versus, I almost forgot what I wanted to say about Inoue that I was going to talk about earlier in the show that I didn't bring up in terms of Cardenas that I brought up on the live stream. Cardenas was unknown, absolutely. But Cardenas was a fighter who had fought at 130 before on multiple occasions. I forgot to bring that up on this show, though I brought it up and we found it out on the live stream over the weekend. Cardenas had been fighting at 130, upwards of 131, multiple times in his career before coming back down to 122. This man had fought at 126 multiple times before coming back down to 122. He has fought at 130, 117, 120, and 122 on multiple occasions. And over the last 4 fights, being consistently at 122, he's gotten a knockout in 3 of those 4 fights, or stoppage in some regard. This man was bringing upper class power to 122, and Inoue was able to stop him. He was bringing 122 level durability because he had already been fighting people bigger than him on multiple occasions. And still, we saw Inoue knock him out. We've seen this man put out people at 130, hurt people at 130, at 126. And we saw that, hey, it was a reason for it because them counters and those hooks of his are vicious. And we saw Inoue stop this brother. This ain't something that's just ho-hum. But this is a testament to what we can see about Inoue at 126. And mind you, he's fighting with that elevated level of power down at 122. And there's a Cardenas. It's insane. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. This is like when Keyshawn Davis fought against somebody in terms of Lemos who had gotten up to 160 and knocked him out in 2 rounds. Now, I'm not saying that Cardenas weighed in at 130 on the night of the fight. No. But I am saying that what he has been, he's a big man fighting in a small division. He is. That's facts. And Inoue was able to do this to him. But this is a teaser to what he can do at the higher weight classes of 126. And he's also said that if he can stay at 122, he'll keep on fighting at 122 for as long as his body allows, and then move up to 126. And now he's got Akhmadali, which is next, who's another powerful puncher. We are in for a trilogy of phenomenal fights. Akhmadali, Nakatani, afterwards, most likely if he beats Akhmadali, and then potentially move up to 126 or keep staying at 122 and fight, what's his name? Casimiro? Casa something. Somebody that people keep saying he's ducking, which he isn't, but regardless of which. And still be dominant. There's so many ways that he can go. And it adds to the impressive nature, knowing that fact, of Cardenas had fought at 130 before on multiple occasions. That this is indeed an incredible thing that we're seeing from Inoue. Let me see. Feeling Yang, what's good with you? How you doing? Thanks for tuning in onto the show. Hey, glad that you're here. Glad that you're back. Glad that you're joining in on the ride. Let me see what you got to say as we're in the tail end of the show. This is the championship round. If you didn't know, we can talk about anything and everything in the world of sports. Whatever your questions in the comments are, if I can talk about them, I'll talk about it and I'll give my opinions on it all. And we can have our debates, discussions, and all that stuff. But let me see. What's your thoughts on Inoue's upcoming schedule? MJ, Nick Ball, and Junto. How do you think it will play out? So I think I think you got two of those fights flipped. It's going to be MJ and then Junto, and then it would be Nick Ball, because Inoue has said as long as he can make 122, he'll keep fighting at 122. He already publicly called out Junto Nakatani at a Japanese boxing summit, I think, a couple of months ago, and they both shook hands and said, yes, let's make this fight happen. So that's going to happen first at 122. He said that fight would happen at 122 in the interview with what's his name? They showed an interview before the Cardenas fight on Top Rank. I forget the man that he was being interviewed by, but he told him that fight would happen at 122. So it would be MJ first, Junto second, and then Nick Ball third, if that was the slew of events that did take place. That would be the most likely, if not already asserted, outcome from the man himself. Now, here's the catch. I think he beats all three. Yes, he does. I think he beats all three. I think he knocks out Akhmadali. He knocks out MJ. I think he beats... Actually, I think he knocks out Junto Nakatani. I think he knocks out Junto Nakatani. Now, I know what some people may be saying.
Hey, look at this. We got some problems here.
I know what some of y'all may be saying.
We got some problems here.
I get it, because Junto's a monster. Junto's a beast. Junto's a menace. Fighting currently the bantamweight champion right now, looking to unify, has a left hand that, again, Inoue's been caught with left hooks. Both times he's been knocked down. Junto Nakatani's best shot is his left straight, which is so scary. It's horrifying. I've seen this man knock out people to the body with the left straight, with the left hook. It's power personified. And he's got length. He's so long as a fighter. He is like, he's not as fast as Inoue, no. But it is the ability to use his reach and be aggressive. That makes him so scary for the world of boxing. Oh gosh, he's horrifying. But that's what makes this fight so exciting. But I'm picking Inoue to knock out all three. With the toughest fight most likely being Nick Ball, strictly due to the stamina and power. Because I'll tell you this, we were watching that Cardenas fight. As much as I know Inoue is so insane, I also understand what I witnessed, and that can be a problem. Cardenas, in what, I think it was round 3 or 4, before Inoue fully made that change, was landing some sneaky, strong right hands. And at one point in time was landing hooks at will on Inoue. And Inoue was just eating them. Now, again, credit to his chin, absolutely. But it's like against Nick Ball, that would be a danger. That would be a concern. That would be a, hey, if anybody could stop Inoue, it would be Nick Ball due to the power game. Again, he's not invincible. But he's as close to perfect as you can think of when it comes to a boxer. Inoue is so spectacular. But he's also able, like, he can be beaten. It's just, it's hard to see anybody doing it. That's the thing. It's hard to see anybody doing it. And so I think it would play out that he has his toughest fight with Nick Ball due to the stamina and relentless pressure. The most technical affair would be Junto. And I think it would end in Inoue getting a stoppage. And Nick Ball, I think it ends in the stoppage too, with Inoue catching him off a counter because he is so aggressive. And he won't, instead of him playing the game of trying to go into a brawl, which again, he loves to do it, he'll go and he'll still brawl with them. But he will lull Nick Ball into some counters to catch him. Because again, he is smart. He's adaptable. He'll win. He can win in a multitude of ways. And so I think he knocks out all three. If it was back to back to back, I think he knocks out all three. At worst, he wins all three and knocks out 2. Maybe he doesn't knock out Nick Ball. Potentially. But again, he knocked out Cardenas, who had fought at 130 before. So it's like Cardenas has felt bigger punches from the standpoint of weight. And Inoue still put him to sleep. Or Inoue still stopped. And what was a good stoppage? It wasn't a bad stoppage. It was a good stoppage. It was a good stoppage. I don't want to hear that was a bad stoppage. Nah. That was the 3rd time he had shelled up and had lost his balance and fallen back. The ropes were also helping keeping him up in that pillar. And he had also buckled off of one of the shots through the block by Inoue. So it wasn't just he was still ready to go. Nah. He was in a bad state for about 2 rounds, actually. It was about 2 straight rounds that Inoue had Cardenas in a bad way. So now it was a good stoppage. Listen, Junto KO Maloney with the same left Inoue got caught with by Neri and Cardenas. Yeah, he did. He absolutely did. Now, granted, Inoue had knocked out Maloney also, but it's the thing about Inoue is just like with the Lewis Neri fight. Once you catch him once, you don't catch him again. We saw that happen in this fight too. Cardenas caught him a couple times with that left hook. He knocked him down. And in Inoue, while still being aggressive, made it a point to adapt his style to make it so that he wouldn't get caught with that same punch again while still being aggressive. And then by the second half of the fight, by round 6, all of a sudden that left hook was starting to look obsolete because Inoue had now learned and adapted what to do to avoid it. Using that jab, not just to fight at range, but also to do damage, because that was a heavy jab that he was landing, but also to mess up the timing of Cardenas and mess up the distance that hook would be able to actually throw. And then when he would fully commit, he knew before Cardenas would throw it when to slip back out, and then when to come back with a 1-2. And then afterwards come back with a flurry of shots to the body. Hold him downstairs, going in hooks. And we were saying, where's Inoue's body work? Next thing you know, Inoue did body work. Inoue did body work. And we're on, again, the elevated path of that 6th gear. Implementing everything that we know that he can do. Leaped in with that jab, straight right hand. Went with hooks to the body. Double hook upstairs, and double hook to the body, and then right hand upstairs, left hook downstairs, and straight right, then a hook again, and then would slip back out, and then would come back with a whirling, or like, I don't want to say a flailing, kind of a wide arcing, slapping hook into a straight right. And then we'll continue to pressure. Go back to the jab, 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 wait, posture, wait, jab. Slip the hook, go back and overwhelm. That's what he did. And so that's why I'm saying his ability to change while still staying the same is something that makes him so special. He'll still fight you, but then change himself. And so you're still dealing with Inoue, but now it's a different mode. And it's so good. It's so good. It's so good. And it's like, I agree. Inoue utilized his jab to pepper Cardenas' big hooks, great observation. Yeah, and it's like, ironically enough, what we talked about in the live stream, if you ever get to go out and see it, we were calling the fight live. Inoue was able to damage Cardenas with that jab. It wasn't just a rangefinder and a distance keeper. It wasn't just a timing mechanism to mess up Cardenas' rhythm. It was genuinely one of the big factors that Inoue was using to hurt Cardenas, to damage Cardenas. You saw literally a line of red over Cardenas' head. It wasn't blood, it was swelling. That was repeated damage at the same spot because Inoue was constantly landing that jab, and it was a heavy jab. It was a hurtful jab. Part of the reason that we saw Cardenas start to lose steam later on in the fight wasn't because of Inoue making him miss hooks and also keeping that pressure on him. But it was also, on top of the shots to the body that he was then landing, it was the jab that was damaging him. It was the jab that was helping eat away at that fatigue while also adding heavy damage to Cardenas round after round. And it made it so that by the time the fight ended, he had to shell up. He had to only rely on that big sweeping left hook because everything else had gotten stripped away from Cardenas' game, and the damage on top of fatigue had taken hold. And now Cardenas could only rely on the saving grace of a home run hook that had landed the first couple times and that was winning him the fight for the first, 3 or 4 rounds. And Inoue had it down to a science to the point that now it's no longer an issue. It's a threat, but it's not a problem. It is a weapon, but it's not, there's no bullets in it anymore. Because it still got steam, but I can evade it now. Like I said, ultra instinct. I see what's coming before I get there. I see what you're doing before you do it. I recognize the pattern and know how to make you bite like a fish with a lure. I know when you're going to tire. I'll give you some slack. I'll fight with you, then I'll give you some slack. Just enough to where you tire out a little or you let up, and then boom, now I'm reeling you in. And I'll play that game with you, then I'll reel you in again. So ultimately now I can do whatever I want with you because you are outmatched. And now I got you on the hook. That's what Inoue does to every opponent. He did it to Luis Nery. He did it to Marlon Tapales. He did it to Nonito Donaire. He dominated him the second fight, didn't even let him get anything because he knew what was coming and knocked him out in 2 rounds. Yi Jun Kim did it against him. Every single opponent that we've seen with Inoue is a different, it is a different picture, but it's the same paint. It's a different picture, but it's the same paint. It's a different type of image, but anyways, using the same paint. He's so good at manipulating everything that he's got to garner new skills. He's a master of being able to mix different types of paint together to make a new color, to have a new tapestry. But it's all with the same paint that he already has. It's all the same tools that he already has that he continues to manipulate and maneuver with and change and evolve with in terms of their uses. That every fight is the same result, but it's done in a different way. But at the same time, it's the exact same way that we've seen it done time and time again with every single opponent. This man is a myth. I keep on telling you. I keep on telling you. We are witnessing a version of fighter that only comes around once every couple of decades. We've had Roy Jones Jr., we've had an Ali, We've had a Sugar Ray Robinson. We've had all these different fighters in time that have been a footnote, not in a bad way, but they have been a fixture in a shift in the sport as a whole. They changed the game and elevated it to a new level, to a new regime, to a new type of dynamic. They set the bar that now other people can't try to do. Pacquiao did it. Floyd did it. Ali did it. Tyson did it. So many people have done it. And it's so, when you watch them, it is so apparent that they are different from everybody else. It's the way that they do it. It's not just the result. It's how they get that result. It's so different from everybody. It is an infallible, undeniable fixture in everybody's mind that there's a shift in the sport. That's what we're saying with Inoue. That's what we're saying with Inoue. A testament of a man who is going beyond time and space, beyond era, and beyond belts, beyond weight classes. We're seeing, similar to Roy Jones Jr., as I've said, two sides of the same coin. From the standpoint of the way that they go about fighting, it's a different itch, a different niche. It's a different threshold of greatness that you just can't comprehend. If you talked about him, you wouldn't believe it. That's why it was so important for Inoue to come to the States, because now they witnessed it firsthand. And there's nothing else that you can say about what this brother is as a boxer. There's no longer, like he's a myth because he's unbelievable. But now that people see it, it's like, oh my gosh, the myth's real. Godzilla actually exists. Jason Voorhees is not a figment of my imagination. The Shadow Man is not just a fluke. This is not just a scary story to give people hope or hype or to be like, ooh, be afraid. I witnessed this man just do everything he said. I witnessed this man do everything that people said he could do and more in a fashion that my favorite fighter could not even imagine to do. There's nothing else you can say except for I'm a believer. You have to be. You couldn't be after this fight. And so let me see. I took a very close look at the post-fight video, found it where Cardenas kept his glasses on, but if you look at his right eye, it's bruised. Doesn't mean anything, but kudos to Cardenas. And yeah, I mean, we've seen people wear glasses in interviews afterwards because they got damaged and all that stuff. I get it. It's a common thing. But it's like Cardenas made a fan out of everybody. Cardenas made a fan out of everybody. He went into the den with the most dangerous fighter in the world. And he went on and said, I'm not afraid. More than that, he pushed Inoue to the brink. He pushed him to a brink more than Neary pushed him to the brink. The closest we've seen Inoue push to this type of brink was against the likes of Nonito Donaire. I'm dead serious. With the knockout and the whole of the fight. We could argue Marlon Tapales, but even then, even though it was a fight that it was a knockdown, drag-out brawl, incredibly funny and exciting, Tapales, Inoue was still getting the best of Tapales in most, if not all, of those exchanges. And dominated even more fervently still. This fight was as close as I've seen to a detrimental type of fight as I saw with the likes of Nonito Donaire the first time around. I'm so serious. I'm so serious. I have not seen this man tested this much, knocked down and all, since Nonito Donaire. And he still put up on it. He still came out on top against an opponent that many people did overlook. I did too. Never again. Won't happen again. I promise you, won't happen again. I guarantee you that. Guarantee you that. Absolutely. Absolutely. And thanks for your input. Hey, no problem with it. I'm glad y'all are liking what we got going on. Again, if you're here, leave a like on the stream if you like what we got going on right now. Let me see. Al Booger Inoue sold me after he demolished Cool Boy. Another Cool Boy. Cool Boy was one of his easiest fights, ironically enough, because he outboxed Fulton. He outboxed one of the best boxers in the world. From a technical perspective, Fulton was seen as a top 10 pound-for-pound contender. Let's not forget that. And Inoue beat him every round and knocked him out. So on both ends of the spectrum, we've seen Inoue in the show when he's been pushed to the brink and when he's been dominated the Kingdom Come. or excuse me, when he's been pushed to the brink and when he's dominated the fight in every facet. In both instances, he's then gone and ended the show. We've had a complete tale of every single version of Inoue, and still there's more to learn. It's ridiculous. I'm telling you, it's about Salvador Sanchez versus Inoue at 122. Now, I'm scared to even touch that. Because I'm scared to touch that. Because talk about a war. I would pay so much money. I'd pay so much money to see that fight happen. I would pay so much money to see that fight happen. Salvador Sanchez versus Noya Inoue. Oh my gosh. You want to talk about a dream fight? That would be genuinely one of the greatest fights we've ever seen. Period. That is one of the top dream fights I've had. And man. Who wins that? Oh, shoot. Golly, that's a... Dang it. I gotta think, because it's a tough fight, because we didn't even get to witness the best of Salvador Sanchez because he died too soon, sadly. That's the crazy thing. We didn't get to see the best of Salvador. If he had gotten to live a full life and go through his entire career, but he would have been even better than we already saw. And so I'm like, man. I'm genuinely, and again, I say this because I wouldn't say this unless I didn't understand the gravity of what these two bring to the ring. I don't know who would win. I'm so serious. I don't know who would win. Because everything I've said about Noya anyway, Salvador Sanchez has all of those same tactics, all those same abilities. I would argue potentially Inoue's got more pop. Potentially, hypothetically. But beyond that, it's neck and neck. Oh gosh, I don't know. I can't pick. I'm sorry. I don't want to be that type of opponent or that type of guy who just tries to ride the fence. I'm riding the fence because I truly don't know who'd win that fight. It would be no quit. It would be no love lost. It would be a knockdown, drag-out brawl. It would be everything Salvador Sanchez always exuded in his career. And it would be everything that Inoue has been asking for from an opponent. Imagine Cardenas versus Inoue, but like times 10. That would be that fight between Salvador and Inoue. That's ridiculous. Oh, shoot, but I don't know who would win that. I don't know who would win that. My gosh, I don't know who would win that. You got Albuquerque, you got Salvador all day, or you got Sanchez all day. I feel you. I understand completely. I genuinely, I can't pick. That's the one fight that I can't pick a clear winner. No matter how many times I go through my mind, I can't pick a clear winner. I don't know. It'll be a draw. It'd be a draw. Both of them would have knockdowns. And it would get, I'd want that to be a 15-round fight. I'd want that fight to be a 15-round fight. That's what I would want. Oh gosh, I'd want that. I'd want that absolutely. Anyway, it's amazing, but Salvador is still a cut above, in my opinion. I completely get it. I agree. Again, I'm not speaking against it. I'm not speaking against it in the slightest. I completely understand having Salvador Sanchez on that pedestal. It's no question in my mind. No question. The only reason why I would even fathom this fight happening is because I see Inoue as being able to get to that similar threshold of Salvador Sanchez with the dominance that we're seeing now. That's the only reason. That's why I don't compare people to Salvador. I don't. Because people don't reach it. Let's be real. People don't reach that. You don't reach that level of greatness. To be talked about in the same vein speaks to how great you are right now. And it speaks to the timelessness of Salvador and his skill set. It's ridiculous. It's preposterous. It's mind-boggling. That's why I'm saying I don't know who would win. I genuinely do not know who would win that fight. But like at the beginning, you like angry? It's a phenomenal fight. It'll be a phenomenal fight regardless of which. And Lord knows I pay so much money. I might go into debt. I might go to see that fight. I might go into debt just because. For that, that's an experience I would never want to miss. If we could do it, oh gosh, that would. And question: where would that fight happen? Where would the fight happen? Shoot. Would we want the fight to happen in Mexico? Actually, that might be the place to be. I'm not gonna lie. That might be the place to be. Have that fight happen in Mexico. In a custom built stadium, 100,000 people. I guarantee you it'd sell out. It would sell out in a heartbeat, no question. And so, but yeah, I can't pick a winner. Genuinely, I can't pick a winner between Inoue and Salvador of who would win that fight. And it's not because I'm trying to overhype or undermine Salvador or Inoue. I genuinely don't know, because I understand between those two are some of the most complete fighters we've ever seen in the sport. And who would win, brother? That'd be so interesting. That would be so interesting, man. I don't know. I really don't know. But I think that's about everything. Unless y'all got some more stuff you want to talk about, we can keep on going. But unless we got anything else we want to discuss, I think we about to wrap it up and call it home and get on out of here. I have been pacing myself with my voice, but I still ain't in the best shape from the standpoint of vocally. Hopefully I gave you all a great performance for tonight. We're going to see if I'm able to do this again on Thursday. I'm not going to lie. I might have to take a break. But with all that being said, I think we're going to get out of here, and I think we're going to call it home. And, hey, we're going to end this show on a high note because it's been great. So with all that being said, this has been another episode of The Watchable with me, your host, Jean-Luc Watch. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to the show and watching on YouTube. And we're going to be available on every podcasting platform later on today. We're going to put this up for everybody to hear. We apologize for the chats not getting put up until later on in the show because I could not get this thing to work. I keep on thinking I'm updating it, but again, I got to update it again and all that stuff. Now we got it to work. Everything should be smooth sailing on Thursday if I do a show, because I might have to let my voice recover genuinely from all this weeks of talking. But regardless of which, we're gonna do what we do. I don't care. We're going to do what we do. Absolutely. And we're going to do it with you all, the viewing and listening public. So, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Leave a like on the stream. Comment your thoughts and opinions. Subscribe to the channel. Share the show with everybody you know. I've been Jean-Luc Watch. Y'all have been wonderful. Peace and love. We are out here. Yes, sir. We're going to see you all, prayerfully, on Thursday. If not, I'll let you know that we ain't having a show so I can take some vocal rest. With all that being said, we will see you all next time around.